Today I'm going to be showing you how to replace the motor for the AC fan. This is the fan that's not spinning, and this is the motor I'm going to replace. You need to loosen the two bolts on the left so that you can pry up the battery connectors, and then remove the screw on the right. Next, you're going to want to remove this screw right here so that you can get the battery out. Now you need to remove the bolt in the circle, and then you need to remove the screw underneath this arrow along with the anchor that the screw is screwed into. So once the relay box is loose, you're going to want to pick it up and move it over to where the battery was, and you may want to use some type of string or zip tie to hold it there, like I do here. Once the relay box is out of the way, you can remove this screw here. The next step in this process is to remove these two bolts right here in these circles. On the far side, you need to remove this bolt, and here is a closer look at it. Behind the fan is its power cable, and it is held in place with two connectors, which need to be disconnected. Here is the first one, and here is the second one. At the front of the car, this coil needs to be disconnected, and there are three connectors holding it in place. It's pretty simple, just pop them out. On the sides of the condensers, there's 4 screws, one on each corner, basically, and here they are. Here's a small clip of those bolts that need to be removed. There's that one there, the one further down here. I'm going to bring you down. Hopefully this will give you a better understanding of the one on the opposite side. Right here I'm actually going to cut a part of the condenser housing. I know it sounds unorthodox, but this is the best thing I could find online, and it's actually pretty simple. You're not hurting anything. It's to allow you to remove the cable freely out of the housing without disconnecting it, releasing poisonous gases into the air. Here's a better understanding of where you need to cut. So once you have completed all the previous steps, now you should be able to wiggle the housing out. You need to be careful for this arm, which is directly below this arrow here. You don't want to damage the housing. There's also a a cable that is still plugged into the back of the fan housing, and you'll see me mess with it here in a second. It's pretty easy. You just need like a screwdriver and you can pluck it out. It's actually easier if the fan is turned upright. I'll show you here in a minute. So here's the cable that I'm trying to get at, and like I said, if you turn it upright, I'm just messing with it right here. It's much easier if you just go in like this. You put it straight down and it'll be right there, and you can use a screwdriver, a flathead, and just wiggle it out. Now once you're here, this is pretty easy. You're just going to want to remove this bolt. Then you can take the fan off. After that, there are 3 bolts that need to be removed so that you can remove the motor from the housing. Once you finish there, you can put your new motor in. You can screw in the 3 screws holding the motor in place, and then you can put your fan on, and then you can screw in the nut that holds the fan in place. When everything works there, you're going to put the housing back in place. So now, like I said again, you just need to jimmy it in there. Be careful not to break anything, and you should be good. Once the condenser is back in its housing properly, you need to screw all 4 screws back in, and so you can see me doing that here. And I only show 3, I don't show the 4th one. Once you're done there, you're going to want to move the whole radiator into the correct position, and then you're going to want to screw all 4 bolts back on, as you can see here. After that, you're going to want to snap the connectors in for the coil. After that, you can put your relay box back in place. Then you need to screw in the bolt that's holding it in place and put the screw back in right there. Then after that, you can plug the 2 cables back into the back of the housing. After that's finished, you can put your battery back in, and then you're going to want to put the holder back in place. Then you can screw in the ground cable. Then you can put your battery connectors back on and tighten those bolts. And you should be finished at this point.